Okay, so like this is kind of like the printer I've got to work with. If you've ever seen anything like that before, that would be like a spiral and pencil. I have a pen, but I saved it for my resume actually instead. Like it's I love you, Dina, but you know what I'm saying. It's a primary, and we gotta kind of move along here because we're gonna sweep the fucking general election and stay motivated. Democrats, go out and vote, even if I'm picking on you sometimes. I still love you. Okay. Now she was born in Thomasville, Georgia, and I'm gonna here. Hang on a second because I can't really shine much light on anything in this second. I'm gonna just go ahead. I'm gonna shine light on it. Okay, there's Holly and Percival. See if we can get Holly and Percival in there. Italian Percival. Okay, and hi Kate, and if you're watching this or if you ever see this again, that's Percival's new girlfriend Holly. That's she's a polar bear. Percival's a grizzly bear. Percival is actually found out is British. He's a certain named after Sir Percival of the Round Table, and I believe Percival is a strong Lancelot. I guess I was wrong in the past. Lancelot's brave. And then that's the Holly R. Gale. We picked her up when we hit two royal flushes for like $400 on nickels up at the Boulder station, and that's Holly Argale, and we bought her in between, and we hit the second one. And the problem was Percival, after he'd been out on the street, that he was going to get his girlfriend for all the bullshit he had to put up with. He's a fucking teddy bear. You can retaliate against me. Don't, however, retaliate against the fucking teddy bears, man. That sucks, dude. He's cute. Do you see how adorable they are? Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Is we're going to do the resumes now here. So Dina Titus was born in Thomasville, Georgia. Attended William and Mary College. She was actually admitted to the college without a high school diploma. Now, I had a friend up in Wisconsin who did this, and they immediately shut the loophole. But yeah, if the high school is really fucking with you and you're smart, which they do with the really, really smart kids, because you got to get uniform in the system and normalize and all that fucking bullshit. Like, all you other kids could get away with your horsing around and knew how to do it. Dude, we get singled out. So they probably like figured she's like just this like total genius and like was getting ass with over there, so they just probably promoted her right to college. It does happen. Her Bachelor of the Arts is in political science, Master of the Arts, University of Georgia, likely in political science as well, and then a PhD from Florida State. And now what you're seeing with Dina is some states here. I'm going to get the state chart here and why this is catching federal attention. State chart. So Dina has Nevada, most important, of course, because that's the district we're talking about. See, she's got the state chart. That's Nevada. And then she's got Georgia. You see kind of how those states kind of start lining up. And then she also was at Florida State, so that's Florida. That's a kind of a toss-up state, isn't it? Do you see kind of where we're going at, why this election is starting to get important and why this primary is drawing attention? And yeah, I am working with you, Dina. I don't want to screw with this right now. We're trying to double up on this thing, and that's basically what we're doing in this district. I don't know what happens afterwards, but for the time being in this primary, that is 100% my intention because of how important these states are. The Democrats must win. Biden must win. What happens afterwards, we're going to talk through. But right now, we're going to keep going here. So we've got that. And then she also taught, I guess, for, what was it, a year? You can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked like a year in North Texas. So now look at this state here. Texas. And you kind of see all the networking. And this is why when people say, well, why don't you get to jump to that level, or why? And you see why. All the hard work she put up, and everything was all political science. And you need that. If you want to get anything done for the district, you need to have her sitting there with that administrative and bureaucratic background. And also the ability to really walk in and know something about people's politics and the way they're socializing, kind of the psychology of what's going on, all that. You need somebody who can do that like immediately right off the bat. I do not even question whether or not she is better than me. She is better than me. And you see how important she is to the district because she brings all of that leverage to you. And if you need to, you're like, hey, like you need something in Georgia, we'll give it to you. We'll help you vote for that. Can you help us with this project over here for our casinos? Or you get the Raiders here, or you know, the grocery store down the street, like need some help, like managing, a labor relations dispute. You know, can you help us with this? I mean, you know, and you can get that type of stuff from these big states. and you're always friendly because you're always helping each other out. No matter, even if you're fighting or quibbling, you're helping each other out. The truth be told, because when you can help each other out unconditionally, that's what works best. It makes both sides the most, and that's what I'm shooting for. But sometimes these guys don't know what they need to do to get into cooperation. And I hate having to do this to people, but we're gonna keep rolling along and keep working on that, adding that Chicago-style politics on top of all this other goodness that Dina and I are bringing to the district right now, okay, to help deal with this depression. And that's what, if you vote for her and you accept the primary, we're going to show you all that goodness that's going to be rolling through in 2022, okay? So now she teaches at UNLV, and she's been teaching political science there ever since. She's got 20 years in Nevada state legislature, well, has been recently at least, I guess. I don't want to overstate what I know here. 20 years from the Nevada state legislature. She was somebody who actually helped sponsor a bill to make certain that Gardasil as a vaccine to women, and then of course men, to protect them from protects women from HPV, and then later men if you're having sex with women, and it goes to the population. Those can come, from birth even, so there really isn't a stigma. It's just like a cold, you get sick. It's just HPV is something that's got some more serious consequences. All Americans have it, past a certain age. It's basically that's something that we do have not herd immunity, but that's passed through the herd. It can cause genital warts, and it can also later in life cause genital cancer. And so that vaccine, giving that to young people, is a real important thing. It helps extend their lives in a way that our generation, my generation of 45 and her generation of 70 didn't have it. And anything that frees you up to be a human being and meet those human needs for sex, are a really important thing. And ultimately that's what we got to talk about when we talk about populist politics. We're talking about repopulating the country. We lost 0.5% of people, man. If this thing goes through the herd stage that they want, so I got to start coming in with guys like Bernie and ladies like Elizabeth Warren and entrepreneurs like Andrew Wang, and making sure that everything is insulated and spend a lot of money from the government on the people. That's Keynesian economics. When the economy is down, you spend the money. And when the economy is really booming, you put just what you had just done, put Republicans in to sort of seize it up. Now, what you didn't know is when they went to do that as a natural thing, the Republicans, we had some other actors here who maybe were trying to steal some extra money from the economy and weren't terribly good at it. It's part of the problem is if you go to steal Steve Bannon's $7 million, but you set off $1 trillion a month in spending off of the U.S. government, that $7 million is not worth $7 million, it's worth like $1.5 billion now. Who sets off an economic depression, steals a bunch of money, and makes it worth not much? People who are kind of mediocre in banking and mediocre other places kind of ganged up and did that. Yeah, it's like the economic, like the first economic depression. It's like, shame on you, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. That's basically the first time we know better, and then they basically sold you on a bunch of bullshit, and now you're hurting. Your families are hurting. Even if you got a job, you're risking COVID. You're also got another family member you're taking care of who's now unemployed and doesn't have terribly much hope of getting a job, not because they did something wrong, but because these politicians just rubber stamp this horseshit. And I'm going to say Goldman Sachs again, and I'm going to start digging through those donations, and I'm going to compile a list of people who up to this point, both in the Republicans and Democrats, have been taking these Goldman Sachs payments. Now, I get you need the money to win the federal seats, but Jesus Christ, there's a limit, people. So, I'm going to there's some things to limit credit cards, which are good, to 30% interest or so in Nevada. I don't know, but it wasn't going far enough. Really, what's going on is these usurious installment lenders are set up, and I'm not against. Borrowed them in the past. I paid them out 2 out of 3 times. The third time, they fucking fucked with me in the back room so hard that it basically broke me and contributed to the problems of leaving me out on the street. And it makes it really easy for other people around you to horse around when they know you've got one too. At like 440% interest, that is really not a good thing. These guys don't need to, there are other ways to secure this type of debt. These guys don't, if they're going to be taking risks, they can do it at a reasonable interest rate. Now, am I saying set an interest ceiling? No, but A lot of times in the private sector, they don't want to take as many people. They charge twice as much as what they're supposed to be going for. And everybody says, we got to limit access to the consumers, got to limit access to the consumers. Who needs to make fucking 440% interest? Like, who kind of needs to have all that stuff go opaque? Kinda. You get what I'm saying? And you look at the registers on some of these guys, and they're operating out of places like Kansas City. And you dig around the books a little bit, and you find some coincidences with that. Some of maybe the old mobs had set up in the casino industry, and well, maybe they're not there and haven't been there for decades. You see that there are some residual businesses that are still kind of operate like that. There's some laws and there's some limits, but not terribly many. Still an mostly unregulated business. So she sponsored bills in her first session in the Assembly, or in the House here. Sponsored H.R. 3164, 3952, and 5518. It's good, solid kickback to teachers and to green energy. And that's exactly what good government's about. It's what we want a Democrat in office to do. And that's the thing. She knows how to negotiate with these Republicans who are kind of hardline and can get that stuff done. And so she probably is, right now, the right person for the seat. I got HR 2086, 2527, 3441, 3442, 3443, 3568, 4249, 4942, and 5297. And these are all, and there's so many more of these. These are mostly veterans' rights. And there's other things she's helped develop. But she's done so much for the veterans community. I know that anytime I've seen a bed out on the street when I was homeless even, they'd written her, she'd taken care of them. If she didn't write her, they didn't take care of them. And that basically was the way it went. In that Veterans Village, and you see all the work that she's contributed to that. But I'll tell you, it's not going far enough. I see mentally ill. I basically, when I was out there, got shuffled into, they're trying to shuffle me off to group homes. Oh, we can't get you a disability. And it's not really what I was told, but that's kind of the sort of the backdoor implication on that. Unless you are here and give up all of your privacy and have to live with 4 people, and you have 3 college degrees and all that college debt and the hard work you put in and all the money you burn through from your extended family to get through private college, and we'll get to those degrees in a little bit. And you got all that stuff, and will the veterans get some support from that? Like, none of us do. And good, I got to go sweep your floor. No, fuck you. I'm going to run for the House seat here. And all of you, if you want to fucking argue with me and fucking primary me later, vote me in. I don't care. I mean, it's just a House seat, man. It belongs to all of us. Me too. I'm also saying that part of the other problem with this thing is we need to raise the poverty line to maybe 70,000 a year, and I'm going to put pressure on them. Maybe it's too high, but because I have no fucking chance of winning during this first primary, I can fucking say anything the hell that I want to and promise anything. And I'll push for it. I mean, it's just a little administrative tweak, and you can put pressure on the president from Congress for it if they're not agreeing to it. Would you agree with me, Senator Sanders? Senator Moran? Entrepreneur Andrew Wang? Representative Titus? So I'm saying she's solid. She's a great administrator. And, when I hear these Republicans try to say, well, she's a lifelong politician, what you're talking about is somebody who's probably pretty mediocre. I mean, Dina gets frustrated with these guys and the other ladies in the district because they can't admit when somebody is better and more specialized at something, be it a woman, than they are as a man. Okay, I'm totally in agreement with it. She's highly specialized in this. Dina, I don't want to really be arguing with you at all. But, that's the thing. The problem is if it continues to go this way, though, I got to be here for the district. It does require kicking back. So just do it, take my position, make me go away. I'm just invisible again, and you don't have to help me now because we're fighting about it. I'll be friends afterwards, and I love you, and I'm supporting you. You have to vote for Dina Titus. And ultimately in 2022, because I'm so green at this, you will have to vote for Dina Titus again. And, it's not okay to just simply disrupt this district at this time like that. But you have to say, like, look, it may be a good time to have a wing, somebody who's got some flexibility to help out. And yeah, there are other issues here that need to be addressed. What about freedom of the press? I mean, is it okay to go sue Jeff Bezos now because he said something that pissed you off or some other politician? I know. What about Representative Lewis? Do you think it's okay because if, say, Representative Lewis or somebody else, somebody similar like that gets in a primary with you, you have the right to civilly sue them as a political adversary and make them go away? No, I know not, but I know you also have to keep your mouth shut to protect yourself right now and make sure you win. So I get to mouth off about it for a while. When you get done with your Republican opponent, if there is even one, I don't even check. You see what I'm saying? I mean, that's how bad these guys have been. And the guys, stereotyping maybe like majority guys, or women that are basically kind of for the money being forced into taking the positions that these Republican guys want to limit their rights for a lot of money for the inconvenience. So and I know that that's basically what the story is with them. I mean, it's just, we got to see what changes, but we got to win right now. On the next round, I'm going to get to my resume, and we'll see what I can do here with that to explain who I am, why I'm such a unique candidate, and why looking with these assholes as much as I possibly can. I mean, this is like, this is a whole candidacy that's been inspired by a pandemic, an economic depression, and just like a lot of self-introspection, and ultimately I got kind of roped into it because I made a mistake arguing with all of Congress at the same time. But that being said, I was originally started here as a composer, and I'm going to just keep winging it. It's kind of the way I was trained to improvise. Is like, okay, I made a mistake, now I got to keep going, because you can get away with that type of stuff. I mean, you gotta, got the double bass drums like going behind you, and a whole rock band and a bunch of like, licking up people. Quite honestly, you can make basically any glaring mistake that you want to a certain number of times, and nobody will even really notice. And even if they do, then beyond that, they're not really going to care. And that's kind of the spirit that I want to bring to this primary. I want to bring that spirit of teenage rebellion, and like drunken biker bars, because like really, anybody's really welcome at those places. Like it depends upon like where, but like most of the groups, man, I've been around with totally fine, man. You could be black, you can be a woman, you come in and totally be safe and get sauced, and nobody's, going to do anything other than have a good time with you. So, yeah, there's stereotypes and bullshit out there, too, about everybody, right? I mean, you get it. So, so we're going to keep going, and we'll go on to the next episode with my resume.